Being unique. Being unique is the topic for this Thanksgiving Gather Talk. There are three different angles, or three different ways, that I will explore being unique. I want you to sit up, pay close attention, and listen really carefully, because being unique is essential for our school, and it's essential for our Thanksgiving. The first angle. You are all fearfully and wonderfully made. Fearfully and wonderfully made. That is from a Hebrew poem in the Jewish tradition. The writer explores how her creator knows her so well. The poet says things like this: "You searched me and you know me. You know what I'm thinking even before I think it. You are familiar with everything about me. Even when I try to get away from you, you find me because you love me so much. You still find me, you seek me out." And then the poet says this: "You are an awesome creator because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Now, most of the world's spiritual traditions talk about or have a creator. It's a mastermind who made the world happen. But I'm not talking today about the existence of a creator or not. That's not my point. My point is that I think it's significant that this Jewish poet talks about being fearfully and wonderfully made. My friends, you are all fearfully and wonderfully made. You are unique. You are special. You are loved. You are beautiful. You are so wonderful. You are so awesome that it's even a little bit scary. Fearfully made. That's just like our first reading said, to be nobody but yourself. Nobody but yourself. Being yourself is perfect and fearfully and wonderfully made. And then there's that second reading that goes something like this: be weird, be random, be who you are. Sometimes when we're being unique, perhaps even being a bit weird, a bit random, being who we are, sometimes I hear others say, well, that's different. That's strange. Or, I don't understand that stuff. But what the writer in the poem is saying to us is that we should say this instead. Rather than saying that's different, or that's strange, or I don't understand that, why can't we say instead, that's unique? Wow, that was unique. That's being fearfully and wonderfully made. My friends, we want you to be unique at PBS. We even want you to be a little weird and random sometimes. Being unique is important, and it means that you are all fearfully and wonderfully made. That's the first angle. Now here's the second angle. Being unique is not just being fearfully and wonderfully made. It means that you have to have relationships with each other. You have to be in relationship with each other. In my first year as a teacher, the very first time I set foot in a classroom as a teacher, I was supposed to teach a Shakespeare play. Now someday, all of you, including you parents, will read Shakespeare, but not yet. It's not time for that yet. Kendall will talk about Shakespeare later. I think you might be ready. I was very worried about teaching Shakespeare because I'd never done it before. So I asked my fellow teacher, my fellow colleague, David Newman, to teach me. David Newman, yes. That's his. They might be related. So my friend David Newman was going to teach me how to teach Shakespeare. I asked David lots of questions. I wanted to teach Shakespeare right. I wanted to impress my students. My desire was teaching perfection. So after 15 minutes of all of these questions, David stopped me, stepped back, and said this: "Scott, Teaching is all about the relationship. It's about the relationship you have with your students. If you don't have a relationship with your students, they will learn nothing from you, no matter how smart you are. And then he walked out of the room. David was absolutely right. Without relationships, without being connected to other people, we will get nowhere in school, we will get nowhere in life, and life will be awful and boring. My friends, being unique is all about your relationships, because it is no use or no good to be unique if you are isolated all by yourself. In my job as your head of school, I can sometimes feel very isolated. Sometimes I feel like I'm all alone, like I have no one I can really talk to. I can't really say what I'd really like to say. I can imagine that you might feel isolated too. Like there are times when you feel lonely, all alone, and you have no one to talk to. So when I feel isolated, this is what I do. I take a walk around campus. I watch you secretly. All of my unique students, all of you who are fearfully and wonderfully made, being weird, being random, being who you are with reckless abandon. I am so thankful that you are unique, because your unique self is a gift to me, it's a gift to your parents and teachers, and it's a gift to your friends. Being unique means that those relationships you have are your gift, because you're sharing what makes you unique with others. So the second angle is you're not only fearfully and wonderfully made, but you have to have relationships with each other. Here's the third angle, and I'll start with a story. My parents and I visited the farm in Sweden where my dad's father was born, and it's where his cousin and his cousin's wife currently live. The problem is this: my parents don't speak Swedish, and my dad's cousin and his wife don't speak English. So I was their translator for 4 days. On day 2, after many hours of translating between Swedish and English back and forth, I was tired, and I made a mistake. I looked at my mother and spoke to her in Swedish, which she does not understand. And then I looked at my father's cousin's wife and spoke to her in English, which she does not understand. Everybody laughed and thought that was fantastic, a huge, big-time translator mistake from Scott. So I stood up from the dinner table and I announced the following: my translating was done, and I'm not translating anymore today. They were horrified. And this is what they said. They wondered, how in the world are we going to communicate if we don't have a translator? So what I said was this, in perfect Swedish and then in perfect English: figure it out. So I went to another room and watched television for 2 hours. This by myself. It was Swedish television, so it wasn't very exciting. But here's the main point. Over the next 2 hours, while I was watching television, not translating, this is what I heard coming out of that other room. I heard random joy. I heard laughing. I heard sharing and then laughing because they couldn't understand each other. My cousin played the piano. They sang. There was a lot of silence. And I could tell that they were looking at old pictures of family members from 100 years ago. This is what my dad told me. Get this. This is what my dad told me. He said that those 2 hours were his favorite part of his entire trip to Sweden. Why is that? Be weird. Be random. Be who you are. You never know who might love the person you hide. My friends, there is no hiding who you are when you cannot talk. This Erickson family, separated by an ocean, by decades of time, by a language, we could not hide who we really were, what made us unique and special. And so the third angle to being unique is celebration. My dad thought that that 2-hour period was a celebration. We must celebrate what makes us unique, what makes us special, and what makes us fearfully and wonderfully made. My friends, I celebrate you. I celebrate what makes you unique. I celebrate your unique opinions and crazy ideas. I celebrate you when you are random. I celebrate you when you are weird. And I celebrate you when you show rather than hide who you really are. My friends, a celebration of being unique, celebrating what it's like to be unique, it takes a great deal of maturity. It takes a lot of maturity to be who you are, to show your true self, to share a personal belief that someone might disagree with, that might be at odds with the other person. It takes a great deal of maturity to say, that's unique, rather than that's different, or that's strange, or I don't understand it. So today, as we get ready for Thanksgiving, know this: PBS is, and always will be, a safe, respectful, and loving learning environment for all of you unique students, where all of us can celebrate being unique. PBS right here is your team of unique people, 100%. Thank you very much.